we're going to go over the top 20 foods to eliminate in 2020. I'm going to give you the studies that correlate with each food so that we're not just repeating that A, B, and C are bad for us. You're going to know why, along with the studies that were done with the foods to see how they affect the human body. We're going to run through it really quick. So I'm not going to do it on the first one. Number one, I'm going to write everything on the bottom after this video is complete. Number one is milk. I went into the amount of allowable pus cells that are allowed in each liter of milk with the FDA. So I'm not going to go into depth regarding that. You can check that out in the last video, but what I will say is that there was a study done on prostate cancer, as it relates to whole milk. And essentially what they did was take a petri dish. They had some prostate cancer cells in the dish, and what they did was drip organic whole milk. They made sure to do organic because they didn't want anyone to say anything about the bovine growth serum that's typically in non-organic milk. And when they dripped the organic milk onto the prostate cancer cells, they began to multiply. What does that tell us? Whole milk, regular milk, organic milk, doesn't matter if it's organic, it's trash. It multiplied the cancer cells in the petri dish. And what they noticed was with almond milk, the almond milk reduced the proliferation of the cancer cells by 30%. Two of my favorite milks that I like to use is milk walnuts. This I typically do myself when I have time. I soak the walnuts overnight. This is milk hazelnuts. I like this brand because it's only about 4 ingredients. Anything that has a lot of ingredients, I don't even bother. So you want to switch to these milks. So if you know any guys suffering with prostate cancer or anything like that, you could tell them about the study. Whole milk, organic milk has to go. Number 2 is cheese, which is solidified milk. The thing with cheese is it has something called arachidonic acid. I will write that below. It's a pro-inflammatory compound that adversely impacts mental health via the cascade of neuroinflammation. That's inflammation of the brain, inflammation of the neurons. Your neurons need to be able to send and transmit messages throughout your body without any conflict. It needs to be a smooth transition, a smooth flow of electrons with the neurons. If it can't do that, then cheese could be an issue. And that's one of the reasons why people take aspirin and ibuprofen. It blocks conversion of the arachidonic acid to relieve pain and inflammation and swelling. Number 3 is soy. Soy we'll do an entire video about, but just so you know, soy in America is 97% GMO. Soy also converts to estrogen in the body. So any man that is using any type of protein that's soy-based or drinking soy milk, all of those things are going to convert to estrogen in the body, and then that's where you get the man boobs and the excess fat. In women, it's no good because if you have a estrogen-dominant cancer like breast cancer or ovarian cancer or any type of uterine cancer, the soy is going to make that situation worse. Another thing with soy is it's a trypsin inhibitor. Trypsin is an enzyme that's produced by the body that helps break down protein. If you're not able to break down protein because you're consuming soy or products that contain soy, it's going to cause gastric issues, digestive upset. That being a trypsin inhibitor is really big. You have to get rid of it. Next on the list is eggs. Eggs also have arachidonic acid, also a pro-inflammatory compound, and then it has something called choline. Choline converts into a toxin called trimethylamine. It's a bacteria in the gut, and when it's oxidized in the liver, it increases your risk of heart attack and stroke. So eggs gotta go. There are plenty of other sources to get protein from. Hemp is one of them. Hemp protein. These are chickpea pastas, or even good old-fashioned chickpeas. And then when I'm on the go, this is Hillary's Hemp and Greens. This is the only veggie burger that I buy because it's the only one that doesn't have soy, gluten, corn. It doesn't have anything. It's the cleanest one if you're in a rush because not everybody has time to cook every day. Another interesting thing is autism patient autopsies showed significantly more plaque buildup and narrowing of the arteries in the brain. Again, autism patient autopsies showed significantly more plaque buildup, atherosclerotic plaque buildup, and narrowing of arteries in the brain. So that's something that's very important, because that's where we have the stiffening of the arteries, which is lack of blood flow, lack of oxygen. Anybody who has a child suffering from autism, or if you know somebody suffering from autism, the eggs will make it worse. Also, another thing, salmonella in eggs can survive, even whether you have it scrambled, well done, over easy, it doesn't matter. The salmonella in the eggs will survive, and it's more acid producing than meat. Another thing for the men, you have 2 times the risk of prostate cancer eating even 1 egg a day compared to men that didn't. Twice the risk. The only thing worse for prostate cancer than eggs was poultry. And I'm not going in any specific order as far as which thing is worse, which one, you know, like number 1 is not as bad and number 20 is going to be the worst. They're all terrible. Next category that's clumped in is fast foods. The arteries, the study that was done on this is sausage, egg, and cheese McMuffin. Within 3 hours, stiffened the arteries, cutting off their ability to relax normally, caused inflammation, and by the time it calmed down, which was about 5 to 6 hours, most of us have already had another meal. And if it's a meal similar to the sausage, egg, and cheese McMuffin, or anything that's related to that, you're just going to have constant inflammation, constant stiffening of the arteries. And the moment your blood is not able to circulate properly, that's when you're going to have issues. And it starts stiffening because the blood is getting thick. Your blood has electrons on the outside of the membrane, on the outside of the red blood cell. It has an electron, and the purpose of the electron is to allow the blood to flow smoothly. So once you start to dim that charge with overly acidic foods, then the blood cells are going to start to coagulate. It's going to clump together, and now all the arteries are getting stiff. Your joints are starting to get stiff, and it's going to cause other issues down the line. We all know that it's high amounts of cholesterol. Whether you want to choose the egg white, it doesn't really matter, because it can cause the crystallizing like rock candy, which then results in inflammation. And for women too, the excessive eggs causes your ovaries to get rock hard. Pause. Next in line, number 6 is red meat. Red meat harbors a bacteria that triggers inflammation even when fully cooked. I have my people that love getting stuff well done. It really doesn't matter. It does not kill the endotoxins. Endotoxins are toxins that's produced inside the cell. So you have a cell right here. Inside of the cell is the endotoxin from the animal. The exotoxins are what's produced outside of the cell by bacteria, yeast, or whatever else is inside of the animal. But internally in the animal, the endotoxin does not get broken down or destroyed when you apply heat to it. So that can end up in your body once you have a meal. The stomach acid doesn't kill it. It ends up in your intestines, crosses the gut wall into the bloodstream, where it triggers an inflammatory reaction in the arteries. A lot of these things, you're going to hear that they're crossing the gut wall. You have your stomach, and your stomach has junctions, and the junctions are supposed to be tight. But in people that have any type of digestive disorders, the junctions start to get a little open. They start to open up, and then foods and any type of waste can start to come out, and then it goes straight into the bloodstream before it gets the check and balance by the small intestine. So these things over time are going to disrupt gut health. Another thing with red meat, meat protein increases the acid load to the kidneys, boosting ammonia production, which damages kidney cells. Concentrations of stone-forming substances become so high that they start to crystallize. So if you're suffering from kidney stones or even gallstones, any type of stone or hardening or type of rocks that's in your body that you need to pass, red meat, any type of meat, and anything that I named prior to the red meat is going to make the situation worse, because the revving up of the kidney into hyperfiltration, it's going to hyperfiltrate, which means it needs to pump more ammonia to break down the red meat, the eggs, the milk. It has to break all of that waste down. And by pumping up the ammonia, it starts to deteriorate and destroy the cells around the kidneys. Because ammonia, as we all know, ammonia naturally produced in the body, but only to break things down. In excess is going to start to damage the tissues. The next one is also bulked into the category number 7, chicken, turkey, and hot dog. It has gerontotoxins in it. This means aging toxins. It comes from the Greek word geros, which means old age. So these are toxins that accelerate the aging process. You want to be aware of that. And by that happening, it causes stiffness, tissue stiffness, oxidative stress, and inflammation. We also found that 97% of the chicken breasts found in retail stores were contaminated with bacteria that could make people sick. The 2014 issue of Consumer Reports showed that 90% were contaminated with fecal matter. Back in the 1970s, studies showed that over time, movement of bacteria from the rectum into the vaginal area preceded the appearance of bladder infections. Constant urinary tract infections. You need to be careful with the chicken, the turkey. Hot dogs are in the same category, carcinogen-wise, as asbestos. Don't give your kids hot dogs. I know it's summertime. I don't care if it's turkey. I don't care if it's chicken. Hot dogs, no. They gotta go. So E. coli strands residing in the gut serve as the reservoir for urinary tract infections. UTIs, chicken, turkeys, just going to make it worse. And UTIs affect like over 10 million women a year and men. Okay, but another thing that's interesting, in the study, the chickens that colonized their gut seemed to last only 10 days. The good bacteria in the gut were able to muscle out the bad guys. But here's the problem. Most people don't have chicken once every 10, 20 days. Most people will eat chicken every day. So all of the bacteria from the chicken that's colonizing your gut, you're adding more to it when you have it in excess. Now, obviously, I understand that we're all transitioning out of certain diets. So to say, like, just have chicken once every 10 days, not everybody's going to be able to do that because the chicken literally colonized and hijacked your body and makes you crave more chicken. But you have to figure out a way to slow this down. This study shows that it only lies in the body for 10 days. I believe that people can go without chicken for 10 days, without red meat forever. So, and into our next friend. Oh, another thing, another study that was done, the increase in the amount of chicken also increased the chances of getting pancreatic cancer. Number 8, and remember, this is not in any order. These are all equally terrible. Pork, or maybe pork is worse. Pork has a bacteria called the Yersinia bacteria, which leads to acute gastroenteritis or appendicitis. Long-term infections include chronic inflammation of the eyes, kidneys, hearts, and joints. Also triggers autoimmune thyroid condition known as Graves' disease. Your thyroid is right here, and a lot of people don't understand the function of it until they have issues with it. Your thyroid is what's going to keep the body temperature a certain way. It's also going to be related to the metabolism. So you gaining weight, losing weight, it has to do with the thyroid and other functions that I'll list on here. Okay, what else? Studies show more than 2/3 of pork contaminated with Yersinia were still sold. The farmers profit by confining pigs to a 6 by 6 square foot area without adequate ventilation. And another thing we have to remember is pigs don't have pores. They don't sweat. So anything that they eat, which includes each other, they eat each other. If you haven't watched What the Health, they do eat each other. They're in a little 6 by 6 square foot farm, and anything that they consume is not released. Humans have pores. We release toxins all the time. Pigs do not. All of them stay inside of the pig's body. Without sweating and proper elimination, that is going to increase your disease chances by at least 50%. Ladies, while we're talking about sweating, we have to stop wearing these straight jackets called brasiers. You want to wear it once in a while because you have a dress you need to get into or it looks better with a certain outfit. Cool. Brasiers restrict the lymph nodes that are under the breast. There's lymph nodes all over your body. You can feel them here. You can feel them here. The moment you're not able to eliminate waste because of the tight bras and because of the aluminum-filled deodorants, you're going to start feeling a lump. You're going to start feeling lymph nodes getting swollen. You have lymph nodes here too in the groin area. The moment you start feeling a little bit of hardness, which some of it can be eliminated pretty quickly. If you have, it's a brush that you could get. I'll write it on the bottom here. But it's a brush that you could use to help the lymph nodes move waste. You just brush down. Like say I had a swollen lymph node in my neck, you brush down nice and gently, and it's gonna help the waste eliminate from the lymph nodes, and then it'll go back into circulation to be thrown. I want to share with everyone the protocol that's going on in the hospital from some close friends of mine.